Okay, greetings and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Sharon Fisher, president of Seroptimist International for another 3 weeks. Welcome to the last Seroptimist International webinar on the road to equality. Our final stop is about the barriers women and girls face searching for safety as they escape violence, climate and natural disasters, and conflict on a migration journey. The 2020 World Migration Report estimated there were 31 million children alone who have been forcibly displaced. At SI, we know that at least half of those are girls, if not more. The failure of governments to develop effective policy responses to assist and protect migrant children, despite legally binding commitments and support for the 2030 Agenda, has been exacerbated by the turning of political will and resources to the pandemic. This void has been filled by those who would exploit unprotected children into trafficking for labor or sexual exploitation, and labor is becoming bigger and bigger. Increased poverty, loss of family members, racial discrimination, and xenophobia, school closings, and mobility restrictions have many living in limbo. In collecting evidence for creation of policies, it's important that municipal governments, community leaders, faith-based organizations, and youth-led groups work together to assess priority needs as well as risks for exploitation. The voices and experience of migrants is essential in this process. Civil society organizations have long been valuable partners in providing much-needed assistance to migrants on the move. And these organizations have also been negatively affected by financial and staff reductions due to COVID. It's important that governments actively participate in supporting these groups. Families and unaccompanied children migrate in search of a better life. With strong political will, migrant citizens can be protected from harm and journey to their new lives as productive citizens of the future. The NGO Committee on Migration and the Committee to Stop Trafficking in Persons urge member states and the United Nations to address as a priority concern the heightened risks of migrant children to trafficking as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This information is well known to Seroptimists through our UN accreditation status, with several of our UN representatives collaborating on this issue. We know our response is the right response to help women and girls who are victims. Today we have a great panel who will be sharing knowledge, stories, and our latest Road to Equality project that is helping migrant women and children in Romania. First, it's been my pleasure to work with Olga Sedenko on our Road to Equality appeal for the last 2 years. Olga has been exposed to the world of refugees and migration in both her personal and professional life. Being fluent in multiple languages, she has communicated with numerous refugees and heard their stories. Olga, tell us about the challenges women and girls face when they find themselves on a migration journey. And Olga, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here, and it's a pity that the time flows so fast. More 3 weeks, the last webinar, and the last time we can speak about this, but this is not the last time that something will be done for the migrant women or other women who need our help. My name is Olga Sedenko, and I'm Ukrainian, live in Switzerland. 8 years ago, I moved with my family, with my husband and 2 children, to Switzerland, also searching for the better life. But we had an official permission and could start our life officially with job, with good life. And learning German I understood I want to work also here, to be involved in the society, and I found a job in the refugee center. I made administration there, but of course I was in contact with all the people who were there. And so many stories I heard, I even couldn't sleep at night because I wanted to help them, or just, it was so horrible what I heard that I had nightmares. And it's difficult life, especially for refugees. Migration has many sides. Sometimes people move to another country because they are in love, or they want to study, or they have a job. But often they leave their houses, their families, their countries, because they have fear, or they are followed by politicians, or there is a war in the country. So there are many reasons why they leave their countries. And migration in this way, which is really hard, and this is surviving. This is not just a journey. This is really a hard way to the destination where they can have a better life, if they can this better life to have. And women are the weakest people on the way, so they are oft raped. They also oft ill. They lose their children. They can be pregnant also from these men who rape them. Or there are so many stories which we don't want to hear, but we hear or also see them, and they still stay positive. They have a hope. And the first aim is to get the permission in the country where they can start their life. And then it's not the end, because it's only the beginning of the next journey, how they can stay in this country as a person, as a personality, and have a job, have a stable financial income, and also security. And this is not always possible, even in the countries in Europe or in America or Canada. Not so good protection is here as we think, and they are still they don't have what they want to have. When they think sitting in their houses and starting the journey, migration way, they think about a future, and they are dreaming about the future. And when they settle, this future is not a dream, and they confrontate with many problems. Beginning with the language, because many women, especially women, they can't even read or write. They don't have education, and they have to start from the beginning just to do something. And usually they are alone or just with a kid. When they are with the husband, it's easier because then the husband can have a job, can work and bring money at home. But if they're alone, it's very difficult. And I saw this even in Finland, where government supports refugees, and we have lots of programs which supporting these people. But in such countries as Romania, for example, or Bulgaria, or other first countries, first destination which refugees reach from the sea or from Turkey, and officially they have to stay there because there is a convention in Europe that they their first country where they are registered is has to decide for this person, has to decide if the person goes back to their country or can stay and live in this country. So this is a difficult way. And for the women, which we saw, Nina saw this in the centers in Romania. I know this also from my experience. This is almost impossible to go further illegal, or they have to take this permission in Romania and stay there and try to start their lives. So for me as a migrant woman, I even in Switzerland, of course, every country is different, and there is no place better than home. But there are many problems for people who are not native, who was not born in this country, doesn't speak this language, and it doesn't matter how good I speak, how well I speak German. I'm still a migrant woman, and at first I even couldn't have a job, even with my knowledge, with my education. And Ukraine is not African country, and still there were months till I got something. Now I have a good job. I work at migration office. I study. I have social life. I'm so optimistic. But this was a hard way and hard work from my side to get it. And there are many women who are ready to do this way, who want to learn language, so they want to integrate, they want to get a new job, they want even to study at the university if they can. And if we can support 10, 20, 30 women who can start their lives and can be independent and secure, this is already a big job from our side. And exactly this project, migration project in Romania, which Nina coordinate there inside, and the whole union coordinates this project. This is really a great job from our side, and I'm proud that we can do this. We can support women, and it will. We can see this maybe in 5 or maybe 10 years. That this what we do now has a great result. Even her psychological stability, and when she comes home and she can cook a good food for her children, this is already a big deal. So Nina will tell about this project more, and I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Olga. And our next speaker is no stranger to many of you. Dr. Nina Smart is a seroptimist. Currently, I think her membership is in Downey, California. You're going to say, how does that work? And she is also an author, an activist, and is now occupying her family home in Romania, the country of her birth. And it didn't take long for Nina, after arriving in Romania, to let me know there was work to be done. And she was ruthless about it. I put her in touch with Olga right away, who willingly provided her expert knowledge about a way forward with the project. And Nina, I know your personal story of migration is so interesting, as is your return to Romania and the project you have introduced us to. So I know our listeners will find your story fascinating. And go ahead, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am very honored and happy to be here. Thank you so much, Olga. What a beautiful introduction. And Sharon, I must thank you again because you really did work hard to include the migration project into your president's appeal. And of course, this has been extremely important. And I'm very happy to be able to share with all our Soroptimists about what we're doing here in Romania. And Sharon, I must let you know that although I did come in and I've been a member of SI Downey for many years, I am now a proud member of SI Bucharest.
Ah, okay.
And we are waiting for everyone to come and visit when things open up and perhaps meet some of the beneficiary that we will be speaking about. And Sue, if you would be kind enough to please help me with the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you. I still have the happy birthday, Soroptimist sign. And my birthday is coming up. Thank you. So I wanted to start by indicating that my journey with Soroptimist started in 2008, and it was part of another President's Appeal project. And most of you know me as an activist for, again, working to end female genital mutilation. Sue, if you don't mind going to the next slide. I'm very happy to share this slide because in 2009 was the first time when Sharon and I met at the spring conference in Camino Real region. And Sharon promised that she will work on the important issue of female genital mutilation. And now, of course, it is part of the President's Appeal. However, it seems like our paths have crossed, and I've returned to Romania. Although born and raised in Romania, I was also, we can go to the next slide, Sue. I also became a migrant in Romania. As many of you know, I have shared my story of fleeing female genital mutilation, and that was 30 years ago. So it just so happened that in September 1991, just as the civil war was starting in Sierra Leone, I was fortunate enough to be able to escape the harmful traditional practice of female genital mutilation. I must tell you that 30 years ago, when I ran away from Sierra Leone and I ended up in my home here in Romania, nobody believed me. People could not possibly understand what I was talking about. We were dealing with fear, we were dealing with cultural practices, we were dealing with terrible differences, cultural differences that people just couldn't understand, even those who really loved me.
Yeah.
So we try to keep this in mind because today, when you
It's written, I think we finally wrote it down.
Okay.
I wonder why.
Somebody can mute, please.
Yes. So when we hear the stories of some of the migrant women, and they sound unbelievable, it is so important to listen, because I'm here to remind people that 30 years ago, nobody believed me. And today, everyone knows that FGM is a practice that continues to happen, and which is one of the main reasons why I shared my story. May we please move to the next slide? So I am coming from the position of being a migrant in Romania. And I found myself, due to life circumstances, right back here in the beginning, at the ending of last year. And I had the opportunity to visit a center for refugees, not too far away from my home, about 35-40 minutes away by car. It's in Rădăuți. It's one of the coldest places in Romania. And the picture you see in the left, it was taken on the 8th of March, International Day of Women. when I met some of the women migrants with whom I spoke and who shared their stories with me, it has been a very interesting journey to understand the position that Romania holds, being at the entrance of the European Union, and how, as Olga pointed out, a lot of the migrants, they come in through Romania. In fact, it is considered a transition country, but some of the migrants choose to remain here. It is a very important process because we had to understand how we can best assist the women migrants who choose to integrate into the Romanian society. I do have a picture on this slide also of the wonderful Soroptimist that welcomed me shortly after I met with the migrants in Rădăuți. And that's Madeleine Sherban and Elena Savu. I was kindly received in Bucharest, Romania, and that is where it all started. I then spoke with our president of the Romanian Union, Felicia Savu, and we tried to understand how we can best work to involve all our Soroptimists here in Romania to come up with a project that will best serve the women and what's needed most. Sue, would you mind going to the next slide, please? In asylum and protection, it's part of human rights, but it is not easily seen that way because of the cultural differences, because of the resistance at the local level. So we had to kind of integrate, understand the circumstances, and be able to create a program that best assists our women. Olga was instrumental in this process because she was very kind in sharing her experiences with working in a refugee center in Europe. Of course, I was coming from Soroptimist International of the Americas and now relocating to Europe. It was a little bit of a process. So we had to have many, many phone conversations to understand how to best create this program. Would you please go to the next slide? I was very fortunate to receive a lot of information locally from family members and friends that put me in touch with a priest in Rădăuți, and that connected me with some of the organizations that directly work with migrants. Because the best way to be able to create a program that directly assists women was to have a partnership, very similar to our partnership with for the FGM and the Soroptimist 6 with the global media campaign that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. So in Romania, we became partners with AIDROM, and I was very fortunate to meet Elena Timofticiuc and Dana Gabriel, who are both on this call at this point, and they will be speaking just a little bit later. And they have a lot of experience. It's the largest organization that works directly with migrants in all the centers around Romania. Of course, being very close to the northeast border and to Ukraine, I was hoping to have direct impact here in the state of Suceava. And that is how we started. So I remain very grateful to Părinte Ilie, and he is the priest that, the Orthodox priest that introduced me to AIDROM. May we please go to the next slide? We had to create a sustainable project because there are so many problems. I mean, it's freezing. I mean, even right now where I am in Suceava, it is really cold. So most of these migrants, they actually come from countries where the climate is very different, but it is the desperation and the urgent need and the protections that they are seeking for themselves. And as you'll hear from one of our, from the stories of one of our migrant women that have become part of the program, the desperation is just unbelievable. And yet, through the many conversations I had with Sharon and with Olga, we had to create our program to be sustainable. So the best way, of course, since our Soroptimist work with education and women empowerment, we felt that creating vocational creating programs where women can go and attend vocational courses will be the will best serve them for the long run and be able to provide for them and the families. As you heard from what Olga first presented, not only being able to learn the language, but also after that, going to school, having their documents translated, and going through all the process, and you'll hear that from our partners as well. This picture that you're looking at was taken at the launching of the partnership program, which was on the 11th of August in the city of Iași, which is about 2 hours away from where I am located right now in Suceava. It is in the northern part of Romania, in the Moldavia area. And we can go to the next picture, please, Sue. And here is a very happy me and the director of ADROM, Elena Timoftichuk, and one of the priests from the from Iași, and we launched this program, and which has been going on for 4 months. And we had a chance to meet the team in both Iași and in Bucharest. Would you please go to the next slide? I was very excited that it is the power of being able to go through this transformation was given directly to the women who are very eager, who have already started learning the language. And what the title says over in that picture, it says that they were bold enough to want to change their world. It takes a lot of courage after you have migrated, you have suffered, you have come with families, most of them have children, to be able to go back to school, to want to do that, and to be able to maybe eventually get a job so you can provide for the family in the new country, in the new host country. And the excitement that we have seen from the women have been wonderful. One of the things that I really like most is the support that we had from all the Romanian Soroptimists. As I was invited to share some of the information that we found and the process that we had to follow to be able to start this program, especially being in the last part of Sharon's presidency, given that, of course, it had to start while she's still president, to be part of the president's appeal. So it was really wonderful that we had so much support. Can we go to the next, please? So in Iași, as of right now, we have, and I know Dana and Elena will be speaking about this more, but we have already 10 women who have been registered, and we have even more that are very excited to be part of the program. They have already started a few months ago. There are many challenges to overcome, just like when I escaped 30 years ago. I mean, of course, the only thing I came to Romania with was a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. I had no paperwork. There was no way I could enroll in any school, and there was no organization at that time. In fact, at that time, I didn't even know I was a refugee, because of the fear, because of the confusion, because of the lack of understanding. We have come a long way in Romania. And the mere fact that we have an organization like ADROM that takes and processes and integrates and helps women, such as some of the wonderful women, migrant women that we see in this picture. Some of us from the Soroptimist Club in Bucharest were able to visit the Safe House at the ADROM Center in Bucharest. And Maria, one of our Soroptimists, will be telling us more about that. This is already a very, very big step. Can we go to the next step? Next slide, please. And here we have the director of the center explaining to some of us, the Soroptimists, and we had the opportunity to meet with some of the migrant women that have started the integration process. They already achieved status of migrants in Romania. They were accepted based on political asylum. And this is exactly the population that we are helping and we are working with directly. May we please go to the next slide? And in this slide, you can see two of the other migrant women we had the opportunity to speak with. In fact, Ragad, the one to my left, with the white shirt on, she is present on this call, and I will be sharing her story in a few minutes. And it is just really amazing and wonderful that we have had such an outpour of love, and so many of the Soroptimists that I have reached out to in terms of having some kind of assistance, because unfortunately the Romanian government does not provide medical assistance to the migrants, and some of the women have very severe health issues. And of course, this is very important, as Sharon highlighted in the presentation in the beginning. Can we please go to the next slide? I would like to, with Ragad's permission, I would like to share the story of a wonderful woman that I have had the opportunity to meet, and that it is my honor and pleasure, together with all of us Soroptimists, to be able to provide services from. As you can see, we are all laughing, but behind the smiles, there are big stories. And as Sharon has so kindly asked all of us that what she has wanted to bring forth through the president's appeal is not only the financing part of the project, but the stories and the importance of what brought us to this position. Ragad fled violence from Iraq, and that was in 2005. She has shared with me that both her father and her brother, they were both shot on the same day. And she knew that her husband and her son were next. And then it was her turn, simply because she was an educated woman. As we know, this is what our Afghan sisters are facing at this time. This is reality for many women. This is reality for many people around the world. This very brave woman was able to migrate from Iraq into Romania. I communicate with Ragad in Romanian language. It's so wonderful to know that she can speak so well. She has learned, she has integrated, and I'm very grateful to a wonderful lady, Madalina, who has accepted for Ragad to come into her house this evening, and as I'm speaking, she's translating to Ragad into Romanian what we're saying here, and she will be answering our questions. Ragad has integrated into the Romanian life. She has recently become a beneficiary, and she is taking an IT course as part of a vocational one of the vocational courses that we are offering through our partnership between Soroptimist and AIDROM. Ragad is struggling with cancer. She is undergoing treatment. We have had, just the way she needed assistance for her medical treatment, there are other women and a few children that perhaps Dana and Elena will be telling us more about, who need help, because this is something that, of course, health is the most important. But these brave women, they have already come such a long way, and they're still struggling with this at this point. It is really humbling that despite all these challenges, there is so much resilience and there is so much excitement. When I talk to Ragad on the phone, she constantly expresses her gratitude to all of us Soroptimists, not only the Soroptimists here in Romania that have had the opportunity to interact with her. Of course, she knows everyone at AIDROM has been very supportive, and that is how we met, but also to Soroptimists worldwide, because it is through our work together that we have been able to impact her life and And she's really excited about the fact that she's going to finish her web design course. And she already told me she wants to start another one because she is, she just wants to be able to be the best at what she does and provide services to people here in Romania. So this is really wonderful. We have in this picture another young migrant woman that was also, I think that she has already started also in the program, vocational program. And in the upper left picture, we have one of our Soroptimist, Elena Savu, also talking and interacting with some of the other migrant women that we were able to visit with. I would like to end. Can we go to the next slide, please? By saying that all of us working, can we go back, please? By saying that all of us working together, even as we are isolated, we are still powerful Soroptimists. We have entered into our second century and we are really changing lives. I wish that when I was afraid and I escaped and I came to Romania 30 years ago, that I didn't have to struggle so much and I didn't have to waste so many years trying to find ways to educate myself, which eventually I did and I'm very proud of. But I'm really excited because of all of us working together. We can provide with the help of AGEROM this education and this direct contact to 20 migrant women, and we are hoping to extend to many more. We can help with medical insurance for women who really need it. And I'm just really touched by all the generosity of my Soroptimist friends, from Los Angeles and from Downey and other parts of the US. I'm here, I'm in direct contact, and I am available to help. I would like to remind all of you that as we are about to enter the holiday season and celebrating our wonderful holidays, there is always a need. And there are people, we have all our optimists here in Romania who are really willing to help and give directly. Everything that you have done so far is wonderful. And I just want you to remember, can we go to the next slide? I want to say thank you. And I want to end, can we go to the next slide? In Romania, we say vă mulțumim, mulțumim, which means we really thank you. Because of all of you, we are able to help so many refugee women, and through them, their whole family and communities. So thank you very much. And let us be proud of ourselves as Soroptimists for what we are doing to help impact the lives of so many women. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. It's always a pleasure to hear your story and the many stories and the versions of your story that continue to evolve. So we never know where Nina's going to turn up, but we always know she's busy once she gets her feet on the ground in a new location. I would like to now introduce Soroptimist Maria Alexi, who is going to share a story with us from one of the refugee beneficiaries from the project. Maria Alexi, the floor is yours. We're not hearing you. Sue, is she muted?
I'm not finding her, so I'm just looking.
She's
no, now
there she is.
gotcha.
There you
Okay, we've got you.
You can hear me now, yes?
Yes, yes.
And you can see my
yes.
PowerPoint as well.
Yes.
I want to tell you that from the very beginning, I was very interested in the program, even before meeting Nina, but Nina was like a blessing when I first met her. I came across the problem of refugees in different ways. Some of them are my students. They are students at Polytechnica University. They are studying Romanian because they want to enroll to different level of education. But when they are here, awful things happened in their country. I still remember, and it's very hard for me to talk about this. We were having a class, and one of my students from Iraq, a girl, received a message from home that her mother was shot and killed. And I felt so hopeless because I didn't know how to comfort her, how to help her, because obviously she couldn't go back home. She was afraid that the government will cut her scholarship because he had a scholarship from the government. And it was difficult. Finally, we solved her problem, but I still remember the moment. It was terrible to talk about nice things, to laugh, to be happy, and all of a sudden to see that somebody face is white and ask what happened. And she said, my mother was shot. It's like in a movie. I started my presentation with two titles, Migration and Refugee, because there is a slight legal difference. A person who is just a migrant can go home. He comes from work, and we have a lot of migrants from Asia in Bucharest, mainly Philippines and Vietnam. To be a refugee, it's something harder. You can go home. Something happened, and you had to left in God knows which conditions. That's why I called my presentation the difficult road, because it's a difficult road from home up to IDROM, to say nothing about integration and so on. They come in Romania in different ways, by sea, in very, very difficult conditions. We just had we just heard the news that a ship, hundreds of people were saved from a kind of boat by a Romanian ship. Some of them are just walking. They are crossing the border legally or illegally. Sometimes illegally because they don't have any paper, or they lost our paper on the way. Here are some data referring to Romania. I choose just some of them because it shows how situation become harder and harder. In 2002 compared only to 2017, you can see how much the figure increased, and a small problem turned into a big one. On the other hand, the women are in a small number because probably for them it's harder to escape from home. Who are these refugees? Now we have to, first of all, we have to think. In this picture with the balloons are my students. I choose also the picture of a road because they have to go through this road. There are people who had to come here because of religious problem, because of political problem. Some of them because the women situation is hard in their country. And once again, I will quote the example of one of my students. She came from Yemen, and she said that she doesn't want to go home because she thinks that she has no possibilities to develop as she wished to develop. She was a very, very good student. We still keep in touch. Now she is working for environmental protection. She studied a PhD in chemistry, and she has a high level of education. And she said, "Why should I go home to stay stuck in a house?" No, it's hard for us, for European women, to imagine that there in some Muslim countries, women are still locked in their own houses. The houses are actually prisons. There are students who fight for discrimination. For from different type of discrimination. And I had long talk with them. And now I am very happy that we have this program, because just talking and showing sympathy is something, but it's not enough. We need something to organize us in a certain way and to help. And Nina knows, because we had this talk several times. I think that many organizations are fighting, but they are fighting alone. And if we put us together, our efforts together, I think the results will be better. I visit IDROM. We saw there 6 women with 6 stories. And we try to give them helping hand for integration and for a peaceful life. Because what does all these people want? They want a peaceful life. They want to have their life in their hand and to live quietly, happily, peacefully somewhere. And for that, they ask for access to education. They want to be educated. They want to get a qualification in order to work. And even if the Romanian constitution says that everybody has the right to work, it's quite difficult to find a working place for refugees. Even for my students who are just migrants and they have paper from the university and they have the support of the university, it's very hard to find a working place. And their scholarship is very, very small. So they really need this money. Here are some pictures from IDROM, the visit we did in this autumn with Nina and Elena Savu and another of our SOR Optimist colleague, Mihaela Ionescu. It was a pleasure I may say it was a pleasure. Actually, there were sad stories, but I was pleased to see how dedicated all the people there are, not just Elena Tomivchuk, but also the other women there to help and to receive help from. They are very open-minded. And I think when you work with refugees, when you work with people coming from other culture, you have to be very open-minded. What are they looking for? Actually, when they come, they are looking for a home. Some of them, they are just going through Romania, but some of them, they are tired and they are finally in a safe place and they want a home. They want a place of work. They want to be integrated. They want access to education. They want security, and they want a gender equality. Some, as I said, as I know from personal experience, they know gender equality. All these things, especially integration, education, and gender equality, can be offered by SOR Optimist clubs, by my colleagues, SOR Optimists, due to their job. A large number of Bucharest Club members of Bucharest Club come from educational field, mainly University One. Others are working in medical environment, and they can help them with medical assistance. We have to make them know the right of the migrants and the refugees, because when I started looking for jobs for them, I also started to read the legislation. To read the legislation in Romania is hard even for me, who graduated a philological faculty. So I can't I can't think that a migrant or a refugee understands. I'm happy to see that some organizations working with refugees are looking for legal assistance, and I know that in IDROM they have such a legal assistance, and this is a very big step forward. We can help them with integration. Integration means integration with the local community and integration with children. Children have to go to school, and we all know from experience, and sometimes children can be very cruel. if they are not prepared. We can also help them with language courses because, as I said, we teach Romanian courses for foreigners, so we have a certain experience. And we can help them also with the equivalence of their studies and qualification, translating them and giving them directions where to go to get the legal approval. This is not very simple. And once again, I will quote my personal experience. I had a PhD in a foreign country, and I waited 2 years for the equivalence. Because when I sent the paper to the Ministry of Education, it was a governmental crisis. So the commission who was supposed to approve my paper did not meet. So I have to wait 2 years. And I lost money because my PhD was not recognized. I lost a position because when I finally got the grade, I was close to my retirement and I didn't have the right to compete for the position and so on and so forth. So if such a thing happened to me, a Romanian, you can imagine how things are for refugees and migrants. And as I said, we can offer also medical assistance due to our colleagues who are working in big Bucharest hospitals. In conclusion, we have to face as a non-governmental organization and as person involved in education that there is a refugee crisis and this is not going to end. Now Afghanistan is the leader of this crisis, and I have a student from Afghanistan who graduated, who was my student for Romanian courses. He graduated 2 years ago. Now she was a student in ASE, and nobody knows anything about her. We don't know if when the crisis started she was in Afghanistan, if she was in Romania. We are still looking for her. The problem is that sometimes the local population is not very cooperative. And this is due to the fact that they are afraid that those migrants will provide good work for less payment. And this happened to Romanians, this happened to Polish people who went to Western Europe, and now it happens in Romania with people coming from Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, and so on. They work hard, they work better, and they are less paid. And instead of looking at themselves, they say, oh, we have to blame the refugees. No, they don't have to blame the refugees. And there are certain stereotypes that we have to fight with. I'm a fighter against stereotypes, but the stereotypes still exist. Bucharest was a tolerant place. And it's not the first time that we face a large number of people coming to the city. Historically speaking, at the end of the 18th century, the beginning of the 19th century, at the end of the Ottoman Empire, a lot of people from the south of the Danube came to Bucharest where the religious conditions were more relaxed. But it seems that we forgot about this tolerance, and people nowadays some of them are tolerant, but some of them are not. And it's our job to educate them and to make them accept that these are poor people who need to be helped. And as I said, I think this is a good mission for SOROptimist. It's part of their program everywhere because we are an organization who fights for education and for rights that we can get through education. And I am sure that in Bucharest, together with IDROM and maybe other people who wants to help us, we will do a very good job. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Maria Alexa. Isn't it amazing all the wonderful Soroptimists we have around the world that we would never know about if we didn't get the opportunity to share information like this? Our next speaker, we're going to go a little over today, but our next speaker is our partner on the ground in Romania, ADROM, And we have with us Dana, now I'm not going to say it right, I'm sure I heard Nina say Garville, and Elena Timofchuk.
Yes, it's a very hard. It's very hard to say my name. Even for me, it's hard because it is an Ukrainian name from my father-in-law. Yes, thank you very much.
Welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity of sharing with you our experience, our work, and also for the help that you gave us just in time. When we were thinking last year, how can we help these women that manage to resist and to now to become a refugee after a long process being asylum seekers in the beginning. I saw on the screen that somebody put a question about how many people, how many refugees we have now in Romania and that are staying. As you have seen, yes, last year we had the 6,300 asylum seekers, but as refugee we have more than 9,000, even more. My colleague Dana can update you with the last figure from yesterday. Yes, it is a big process in Romania. Starting with the 2018s, when a lot of refugees, a lot of asylum seekers realized that Romania is part of the European Union. Just to give you an idea, for them, Europe is Europe. As we say, United States. Also for us, United States, it's United States. So when they are thinking that they are coming to Europe, sometimes we are making it is funny because they are asking us when they are coming if they can learn German language or English. They don't realize that, okay, now you are in Romania, you ask asylum in Romania, so you have to learn Romanian, not German. That's why it's a long process for them and also for us to make them to understand that yes, you are within the European Union countries, but each country is having a separate system. Just a little bit, some of them, they are unhappy and they really, for them, Europe is Germany, more or less. Sometimes they are asking, what about Austria or the UK? But 90% they are thinking that they are coming to Germany. And that's why Romania is a country of transit. But in the last period of time, I can tell you that a lot of them, they want to stay in Romania. For example, this year, ADROM assisted in 2021 around 1,800 persons, women, children, families. From all this number, I can say that nobody left. All are in Romania. And we don't talk only about Bucharest. Bucharest is the capital. And of course, there are a lot of migrants, a lot of refugees. The biggest number is they are located in Timișoara, which is with the border with Serbia. And I can tell you that every night, evening, around 200 refugees are passing the border illegally, of course, in a way or another, because during the war with the former Yugoslavia, they were smugglers used to organize themselves with the smugglers from Serbia, so they use the same pathways and so on. So it's easier for them to come to Timișoara. So this is one way that we really have to struggle. because all these people, when they arrive, they don't have any statue. They don't have a statue of asylum seekers or refugee. And we struggle to help them from the first moment. Doesn't matter that they don't have any statute in that moment. Yes, it is a big challenge for us because we cannot help only a certain category. We are helping families, but of course that we are focusing on women because they are the most marginalized, women and children. And in our shelters, first of all, we have two shelters. AIDROM is having two shelters. One is in Timișoara and one is in Bucharest. And the one from Timișoara, I can tell you that is more than full. We have, I even cannot count now how many families we have in this moment. And if in the past, we managed also to find the solutions, from medical point of view. This year was quite a challenge because a lot of people came with the very hard diseases. And that's why I want to thank you very much for this opportunity, because when we started the program with SOROptimist, we were thinking that women that can earn their own money and be able to raise their children and to have their own life and to empower them on one hand, and on the other hand also to have the opportunity to take care also of their health situation, because they are coming with very big traumas. In AIDROM, we have not only legal counselors which are helping them from the first moment, but we have also social workers, pedagogues that are teaching Romanian language. We have social workers a lot, and the psychologists. This year, we also we were thinking that we will need a vocational mediator, and we started with this new project also. When we started to identify jobs, also to make partnerships with the recruitment agencies that can provide them with information regarding jobs that we don't know. Most of the jobs, we are having connections with a lot of companies, but the recruitment agency is more important because they know even jobs that are not in the same location. For example, we just had one woman now that she is located in Giurgiu, but she will come to Bucharest because we found a job for her in Bucharest. So this, I think this is an important issue. There are a lot of things to be said, but the time is limited, and nevertheless, there are so many things to cover. When we talk about integration, we start from, as I said, from the basic, from accommodation, from everything what means then after you have the accommodation. We have a package for installation. Women, they have a lot of needs with children. For example, in this moment, we prepare for Christmas celebration. We have 10 families. They said that they never had such a celebration. And they were so grateful when they saw that we prepare for them everything what is traditional, as you have also. And we have every evening, we talk about the tradition from one European country. And also we will have also the traditions from United States, and they are coming with the traditions from their own countries. And when they are talking about their own countries, they are starting to cry because they miss a lot, not only relatives, but I think that also, as Nina said, they are coming in a quite different environment. And this is really something. And I said all the time that integration is a long process, but it's very important to start, to have a starting point. And my colleagues, for example, social workers are paying huge work with them. and in order to understand what is going on, and to understand, first of all, how we are in Europe understand the term of integration, what means in Europe, not only Romania, but Europe generally. And because, yes, we try to persuade them to stay in Romania because they have a lot of potential. But otherwise, if they want to go somewhere else, they are free to go. We had, for example, families that they run. They let us a notice in the room saying, okay, thank you very much for your effort, but we go to Germany because some friends of us are there. And after 3 weeks, they came back, or 1 month. Unfortunately, they couldn't then continue the integration program that is given by the state. So we try to help them in any way that it was possible for us, in a private way. And that's why when we have such projects that are financed like by youth or Optimist or from other organizations that are not linked with the finances from the state, then it's easier for us to offer such help for those that are not entitled anymore to receive help from the state. Because the program, the integration program that is according to the state, is given by the state, it's only 1 year, and then they have to find their own way. So yeah, there are a lot of things that we wanted to share with you, but as I said, the time is limited, and we appreciate very much the effort that you paid, because we have already 10 women that are enrolled now in the vocational school. We have other 3 women that are working already, and I think that till March or even February, all 20 women will be part of the program. And we are trying now to select them, because a lot of them, when they heard that we have this project and they have this possibility, they are coming to our counseling centers in Iași, in Bucharest, and they ask if they can be part of this project. Unfortunately, we cannot take all of them. We need, first of all, to cover the translation of the paper, to see, because this is the biggest challenge, the recognition of the papers. Some of them, they are not having any paper. Some others they have, but as you know, women didn't study too much. For example, the ones from Afghanistan, none of them, they have no paper that they studied at least 1 year. So we start from the scratch, as I said. And this is really very hard. And we are, for example, we received, AIDROM was the first organization that received the first Afghans refugees now, 220 persons. And AIDROM took care of them. But this is another situation, because most of them, they were from the persons that they helped the army, so with studies and so on. I mean, they are not a problem. But we are expecting now to receive the hardest part. And we were also informed by the General Inspectorate of Immigration that we have to be prepared that somehow in February we will receive a big number of persons. Anyway, the team is big. We have counselors in all state centers, because these people have to be represented also by an NGO, by an organization that take care of their rights. Because in the beginning, they don't know what are their rights. Even if they receive a leaflet, with a leaflet, you cannot find your rights. It is just something very short. You have the right to do this and that and that. And then our counselors, legal counselors, are with them. and are taking care to understand everything what happened there and not to sign any paper that they don't understand or that might jeopardize their situation.
Thank you, Elena. I would like to also say that I think we're going to try and double our capacity for the project and also be able to offer a fund for some of this medical insurance and some of these unusual expenses that are going to comfort these women. So kind of excited. We're going to meet with our team this weekend, and hopefully you'll be hearing from us through Nina at the beginning of the week. So I'm fairly sure that we will proceed with that. So hopefully we can help more women. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm not sure if Dana was going to say anything or if we can move on to our last speaker.
Just a few words of gratitude.
Oops, we lost your sound.
Now I'm okay.
Yeah.
Just a big thank you for Nina for all the help that you provided to us. It was a great help for us, and I want to thank very much Nina, because all the time when I'm calling her and I'm asking her for help, because extra project I ask for help for medical insurance and some of the women that we have that are in a difficult medical situation, she always says yes to me, and we have a very good relationship and very good collaboration. So thank you very much, and we are here for all you, and we are expecting you to see us, to see our project, and to see the ladies that we are working with. Thank you so much.
Good, thank you. I mean, if COVID cooperates, we might see you next year in 2022. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes.
Let's hope.
Yes. I mean, we just don't know, do we? So our last person that's going to bring us a message, is she on, Nina? Felicia?
Yes, Felicia is
Felicia. And she's going to share with us what the Romanian Seroptimists are doing for some of these beneficiaries for Christmas.
We do have someone who has a raised hand.
Yeah,
Sharon.
it's Nora, but we'll take questions at the end, because we don't want to, we're already over time, so we'll do it right at the end.
Felicia.
Felicia, are you on? If you are, unmute yourself and give us your message, please. Do you see her, Sue?
I'm looking.
She was the one that was coming on late, so
Is there a picture? I'm not
I
seeing.
didn't get her moved up into the screen. Well, maybe she's not. Nina, would you like to explain or have Elena do it? Elena Savu? I'm not sure who's...
Yes, Elena, can you go ahead, please?
So good evening, ladies. Nice to see you all, and thank you for all the speakers that expressed and sent and conveyed a very important and crucial message. So as far as the Romanian Soroptimism is concerned, and it's about the Romanian Union and all the clubs that support the union. For Christmas, we have thought of organizing a kind of get-together, not exactly a party, but a get-together with the women immigrants and their families, their children, and this is particular, and have a Christmas tree and some gifts from Soroptimist Santa Claus, so to say. And we do hope that these little tokens will express our emotional but also financial support for them, and the fact that they are not alone, and we will be there to help them to integrate, to get educated, to be empowered, because we stand up for women, and this will be a very clear and obvious message that we are sending. So it's not much, I know, and one flower does not bring the spring, but still, if you have one flower and then another flower, spring will eventually come. So for Christmas, we intend, I mean, not we intend, we are going to do it. So we will have a get together with the women immigrants and try to, I don't know, offer them a moment of, I don't know, relaxation, entertainment, and pleasure. And maybe in the meantime, we'll get more ideas. Maybe we will organize a kind of, I don't know, if games, but maybe something that will be challenging and enjoyable for the evening. So that's about it. And definitely we are going to continue the project, and we are going to put as much as we can into the ways that we can use to help these women get educated, get integrated, and become women of full potential. So this is all. If Nina would like to complete what I have said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's always wonderful when Seroptimists from around the world can come together and be able to support a project like this. It's something we've strived for, is to include Seroptimists on the ground in our international projects. So I'm so happy that the Romanian Union has stepped up. And Elena, to see you again has been so great. And as I said, we're expecting to expand this project with ADRUM to increase the number of women that we sponsor, and also to cover some of the expenses such as medical and some improvements. I know Nina from California and Sierra Leone is totally concerned about the cold, and I never know if that's because she's from the hot country or if it's really cold, because I'm coming from Canada and it's not exactly sunny here, but we'll see. Maybe it's colder, I don't know, but it's cold for Nina, so that's the reality. And also some of the health and sanitation situations can use a little bit of support. So, so that's good. And at this time, I want to thank everyone for taking this journey on the road to equality. Much of it not in the original plans, but together we have learned so much, and certainly we will not be able to unlearn what we've learned. There's so many issues that are barriers for women and girls, and our understanding will be so helpful in turning up the volume of our global voice. And with that, I'm going to end the formal part of our webinar, and we would be happy to take questions. If you'd like to stay, please feel welcome, and otherwise, we'll see you when we see you.